we have seen that the students who are enrolled and registered in the PhD program have done their presentations. So today in the morning, we will have 12 participants who will be presenting. So I will hand over to the Himanshi. She will be announcing the names of the presenters. One instruction which has to be followed, as there are 12 presentations, so we will be sticking to the time. We have the chairperson, Mr. Ashish Tambe, who will be chairing the session for the first in the morning. The instructions to the presenters is there is 5 minutes for the presentation. So first 4 minutes you will be presenting through your PowerPoint presentation, and 1 minute will be for the question answer session. So please stick to the time because we have 12 presentations to go on in the first session. So it has to be done in the time limit. The bell will be given. So do not extend the time because the next presenter will also be waiting for it. So I will hand over the mic to Himanshi, who is the student of KJ Somaya College of Management. She will be announcing the participants who are going to present. Thank you.
Hello, this is Himanshi Kotai from KJ Somaya Institute of Management. The first participant for the day is Piyush Vasa. And the second is Amit Narwade. Please be ready the second.
Okay, good morning, dignitaries, dear colleagues and friends. My name is Piyush Vasa, and I'm software engineer by profession. I'm doing my PhD thesis from Dharma Studies in Jainism, and my guide name is Dr. Shudatam Prakash Jain. I would just like to touch upon some of the key important points about regarding to my thesis. Jainism is a realistic and pluralistic. Its philosophy is based on the logic and experience actually. And moksha is the ultimate aim in the life. And it is realized by the threefold path of Samyak Darshan, that is what we call as the right faith, Samyak Gyan, that is a right knowledge, and Samyak Charitra, that is a right conduct. The right knowledge is possible through the right approaches towards the reality. And the foundation of the Jain philosophy is a conception of the reality, which is multifaceted, manifold, highly complex, and pluralistic in character. So in the next slide, I will going to present about my thesis title. The title of this particular work is, we says that Saptapangi, a way to understand Jain practices and enhancing the human well-being. I will touch upon this particular title a little in next slides. And the importance of this particular research is that it will going to serve as a guide for the logical interpretation of the Jain practices, because that is very, very important. So in order to that particular thing is that we say have a right faith. That is a very important part actually. And at the same time, the Saptamangi, I really want to try to apply that particular thing in the day-to-day life. So how we can improve the human well-being in this particular case. I will touch upon those things a little later. So in this particular thesis, the problem statement was, the individual take many Jaina practices with or without knowing its essence. The practice remains pseudo-practices without the application of the logic. And only on the acquisition of the right faith, knowledge and the conduct become the right knowledge and the right conduct. Else, the same knowledge and the conduct are the cause of the karmic bondage. So this is where exactly I have touched upon earlier in this case, is that we says the right faith, that is a Samyak Darshan, knowledge is a Samyak Gyan, and the conduct becomes Samyak Charitra only when you will going to understand the practices and then you perform that particular thing, and that is very important. And the last point here in this case is that without the right faith, the practices do not lead to the liberation. So that is a very key point here. Now, this slide I'm touch upon the objectives of this particular my thesis. It says that to discover the Jaina logic that will lead to the right faith. Now, exploring the Shadwad and Saptabhangi, that is one of the key principles in the Jainism, where it is also the key principles, but is most misunderstood principle in this case. So I will touch upon quickly on those particular two things. And then the third point here is that applying the Shadwad and Saptabhangi on a major Jain rituals and practices to understand their actual meaning or purport. And the last point here is that I said that, okay, fine, explaining, to explore the possibility of applying the logic of Shadwad and Saptabhangi in enhancing the human well-being, such as planning, effective communication, decision-making, etc. This particular slide touch upon what are the hypotheses which I mentioned, and that is where exactly it is on the screen. Quickly want to touch upon that. What is a Jaina logic? The Jainism emphasizes that ultimate principles should be always logical. Jaina logic helps in understanding the reality, decision making, and even the debates and controversial things. And to find the various tools of the logic, we already have a number of logics available in the Jainism. Those all particular logics, they are unique, but they are complement to each other tools. And that is why each tool cannot be used individually. That is what the idea here in this case. The methodology about this particular thesis is that it says primary data and the secondary data. The primary data I will going to collect from the Dravya log, like Samaysar, Niyamsar, and so on. Secondary data is also from the website and all that thing. The qualitative method I am going to use and descriptive research design is there. So far, quickly touch upon the literature, review literature on Shadwan and Saptabhangi, as I was just registered in September 2024, and gathering the information about different Jaina logic, such as Prama, Nai, and Nikshepa. And the expected outcome is already on this particular thing, is that to understanding the Jaina tools that will lead to Samyak Darshan. Yeah, and that's all from my side. Any questions? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Piyush. Next, we have Sunita Gangade, post which we have Gudi Rawat. Gudi Rawat, please be ready.
गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन। सर नमस्कार, मेरा नाम सुनीता गंगराड़े है। मैं संगीत विषय में शोध कर रही हूँ। मेरे गाइड डॉक्टर राहुल प्रकाश सर हैं, जिनका मुझे बहुत ही अच्छा मार्गदर्शन मिल रहा है। मेरा जो विषय है शोध का वो है हिंदी चित्रपट संगीत द्वारा रागदारी संगीत को लोकप्रिय बनाने में कुछ प्रमुख निर्देशकों, संगीत निर्देशकों के योगदान का विश्लेषणात्मक अध्ययन। तो सबसे पहले मैं यहाँ ये बताना चाहूँगी कि क्यों मैंने इस विषय को चुना। बचपन से ही शास्त्रीय संगीत, रागदारी संगीत का मतलब यहाँ शास्त्रीय संगीत से है। जब भी शुरू से क्लासिकल संगीत सीखा और उसके बाद किसी फिल्म में अगर शास्त्रीय संगीत पर आधारित गीत आता था तो वो मुझे बहुत अट्रैक्ट करता था और हमेशा मन में जिज्ञासा होती थी कि इस गीत के पीछे राग कौन सा होगा। धीरे धीरे ये और ज़्यादा इंटरेस्ट मेरा बढ़ता गया और हमेशा मेरा ध्यान उस गीत के राग के ऊपर होता था जैसे जैसे शास्त्रीय संगीत में आगे बढ़ते गए। और आज भी मेरा ये अनुभव है कि जब भी मैं सिखाती हूँ, आज के जो यंगस्टर्स हैं, यंग बच्चे हैं, वो भी यही क्वेश्चन करते हैं कि मैडम इसके पीछे राग कौन सा है। इस विषय का इम्पोर्टेंस यही है कि आज के जो यंग बच्चे हैं जिनको पता नहीं है कि इतने अच्छे निर्देशकों के ऊपर काम हुआ है। बेसिकली मैं जो काम कर रही हूँ वो नौशाद जी, जिन्होंने सबसे ज़्यादा शास्त्रीय संगीत पर आधारित कार्य किया है, मदन मोहन जी और लक्ष्मीकांत प्यारेलाल जी, ऐसे 1950 से लेकर मैं 2000 तक जितने भी म्यूज़िक डायरेक्टर्स हैं जिन्होंने सबसे ज़्यादा राग बेस्ड काम किया है, उस विषय पर मेरा काम होगा। और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि इस विषय पर काम करने के बाद, क्योंकि जो बच्चे हैं उन्हें क्लासिकल म्यूज़िक बहुत पसंद आता है, कभी भी आज भी फिल्मों में अगर हम मेरे ढोलना गाना सुने और उसकी सरगम गा के बताएं तो बच्चे बहुत अट्रैक्ट होते हैं कि अरे वाह, इस तरह का गाना तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है और हमारी भी इच्छा है इस तरह का गाना सीखने की। तो भले ही उन्हें कुछ रागों के बारे में जानकारी नहीं है, लेकिन शास्त्रीय संगीत में जो गंभीरता है, जो कहना चाहिए डेप्थ है, वो ज़रूर सबको अच्छी लगती है और सब उसको एंजॉय करते हैं। सो बेसिकली इस विषय पर मैं सारी गायन शैलियों के ऊपर काम करूंगी जो फिल्मों में आ गई हैं, जैसे हमारे शास्त्रीय संगीत में सरगम गीत, लक्षण गीत, ध्रुपद, धमार, बंदिशें, चतुरंग, त्रिवट, इन सब का प्रयोग फिल्म संगीत में हुआ है। सो उस बारे में सारी गायन शैलियों के ऊपर काम करना और दूसरी बात निर्देशकों के ऊपर काम करना मैं चाहूँगी, जो मेरा पसंदीदा विषय है। इसी विषय पर मैंने YouTube पर भी काम किया है, आई एम यूट्यूबर, और राग बेस्ड 100+ वीडियोस मैंने बनाए हैं, जिसके द्वारा बहुत सारे लोग भारत के बाहर भी इस विषय से बहुत प्रभावित हुए हैं और मेरे साथ जुड़े हैं कि आपका इंटेंशन इतना अच्छा है कि क्लासिकल म्यूज़िक को आप इतने सरल तरीके से हमारे सामने रख रही हैं। कुछ मेथड्स हैं जो मैथडोलॉजी के थ्रू मैं अपना काम करूंगी, उसके बारे में यहाँ बताया गया है। सो बेसिकली ये जो काम करने का इंटेंशन है वो शास्त्रीय संगीत यानी रागदारी संगीत को एक आम जनता के समक्ष लाना, सिंपल तरीके से प्रस्तुत करना, क्योंकि जो एक जनरल इंटेंशन है क्लासिकल म्यूज़िक को लेकर कि म्यूज़िक थोड़ा स्लो होता है या हम सभी इसको सीख नहीं सकते हैं, उस इंटेंशन को मैं हटाना चाहती हूँ। संगीत, शास्त्रीय संगीत का प्रचार प्रसार ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा हो, इसका जो दायरा बढ़े, यही मेरी इस शोध के माध्यम से कोशिश है। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, Sunita. Amit, can you confirm if you're there? Amit Narwade. Goody Rawat. Yes. Next, we have Pragya Gupta. Please be ready.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I am Goody Rawat. I am the PhD student in my second year. And thank you, first of all, for giving me this opportunity to present here in front of the esteemed guest and all of you. So today, I'm going to focus on the research topic that I'm currently working on. And before beginning, I would definitely want to thank my guide, Dr. Jaya Iyer. I'm working on a very interesting area, which is booming, and it's been there for quite a few years. But I think there is a lot of focus overall in the industry and internationally as well as in the Indian context. So my topic for research is intervention and impact of artificial intelligence adoption on the e-retailing sector, and this is specifically in the Indian context. So while globally there has been done a lot of research on how AI is being, transforming the businesses across multiple domains, and especially e-commerce, e-retailing, because everything that we see, like we use on a day-to-day basis, whether it's quick commerce, whether it's online shopping, whether it's booking, like for travel and things, and so and so. There is a lot of AI adoption that's happening in the industry right now. And comparing this with the Indian context, India is of course not behind. There has been a lot of transformation, a lot of businesses before COVID, which were offline, have transformed their businesses into either completely online or at least a good portion of the businesses currently being done online. Given this context, there are also some challenges
that I think the industry is currently grappling with, especially in the Indian context, the socio-economic diversity, the limitations on the technology side. While technology is available, how do you really use it? So the the awareness, the education on the technology, and there are other factors like the data security laws and other government policies. So while I'm working on this one, the key problem statement that my focus area would be is adoption of AI in a true sense. How effective the AI adoption is currently happening in the industry. A lot of times, on the ground, when we look at some of the industries or some of the companies, who are probably publishing about their adoption in AI, it may be merely a marketing tactics. So this study that I'm undertaking right now is going to understand when some companies, probably through case studies, through multiple research methods, to identify what has been truly adopted when we talk about AI adoption. And then how it has impacted the business operations and customer engagement. Primarily, there are of course a lot of other areas, but my focus areas are going to be in these two dimensions. So that's the problem statement that I'm going to work on. And the objectives here is evaluating AI solutions. So what's the best fit? While we're talking about AI, there is also a lot of literacy gaps that we see in the industry. So one is automation, one is AI. People are interchangeably using that. It's not the same. So there needs to be a better awareness and letting the companies, or basically putting a framework where you truly help someone understand what you're doing is very good. It's automation, but it's not AI. So something around those guidelines is what probably the objective here that we're trying to achieve. Then impact of AI adoption. How is it really impacting? Very, very important for the business to understand, because merely adopting AI is not enough. You need to understand how is it really truly impacting your end business, your end customers. Are they really seeing value in doing this? And see, from customer angle, doesn't matter whether you do it with AI, without AI, but are they seeing impact? Are they seeing improvement in your customer service? Are they seeing improvement in the deliveries, and so on and so forth? And of course, developing the framework. From the methodology, I'm currently leveraging the mixed method approach, and will focus on the qualitative and the quantitative aspect. In qualitative, I'm focusing on interview, basically case studies, conducting interviews, focus groups to identify the adoption challenges, and also identifying probably the end customer challenges. And through quantitative, there is going to be research, basically survey, questionnaire, which will help me understand and put together a thematic analysis for my study. And some of the achievements that has been done till date is, of course, the literature review is going to be continuously going on. I have also presented to the doctoral advisory committee just last week, and my title is approved. And currently the theoretical framework development is in progress. And the expected outcome of this research that I'm aiming along with my guide is AI adoption in the Indian retailing sector, customer perception of AI adoption, and framework for creating best practices within the industry, and finally groundwork for the future research. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Goody. There's a small announcement. Those who have got their posters, the arrangement is ready. You can get the posters displayed near the registration counter. Next, we have Pragya Gupta, post which we have Ruchi Forsera. Please be ready.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Pragya Gupta, faculty at Department of Electronics Engineering at KJ Somaiya College of Engineering, and also a PhD scholar here. My guides are Dr. Ninad Menle and Dr. Jagannath Nirmal. The title of my thesis is A Computer Vision Approach for Automated Classification of Skin Fungal Infections. The importance is, so as I have shown here, the number of dermatologists per million is about 9.5, which comes to about 1 dermatologist per 1.4 lakh people in India, which is 1:225,000 in US. Although a significant difference, and the reason why we need the dermatologist is, as is shown in the statistics, there is a prevalence of skin disorders. So the number of skin disorders has increased. So there are studies which says that the skin diseases have become like an epidemic now, especially in countries like India, owing to the socio-economic and the geography of our country. We have fungal infections which dominate rather the skin diseases. So, and the current challenge that we are facing is misdiagnosis. So a non-fungal infection, if a fungal infection is treated with non-fungal, then it leads to something which is not fatal but difficult to diagnose and difficult to treat. And the other challenge that is faced is that these skin disorders highly resemble each other. So what is the solution? The challenges that we face while formulating a solution is that there is an insufficient data diversity. Most of the data sets that are available worldwide are focusing only on skin cancer, which is dominant on the western side of the world, US, UK, etc. We don't have those problems here in India because Indians have, or rather on the eastern side of the world, is that we have a high melanin content. So for that reason, we don't have skin cancer as the main disease. We are facing challenges with other kind of skin diseases. The data that is present, the data sets that are publicly available, mostly focus on skin cancer, which are of the western part of the country. There is a class imbalance because all the data set is focusing only on melanoma. There are visual similarities and the computational constraints for real world application. So when we want to deploy a solution in real world, it is highly compute intensive. So what is the solution that we have developed? We are developing AI models. We are addressing class imbalance, firstly, by making a robust model, by augmenting the data set which we already have. And secondly, we are also we have already started an initiative of collecting the data set using a standard camera setup in here. I will go to the methodology when I say when we have what the feature extraction part that we have done, and also proposed an lightweight architecture which can be used in real world. So we are working on deploying that into the real world now. Two approaches were tried. One was a machine learning approach, which is a conventional approach where we pre-process the images that are present and then extract some features out of that, select the best features and then classify. And the second approach is the lightweight model that I said. We are proposing a convolution neural network, a CNN that is called, for this classification. The achievements till date are that I have published 3 papers in Scopus Index journals and 2 papers in conferences of the IEEE Region 10 flagship conferences, one in New Delhi, 10SIMP, already published in IEEE Explore, and the 5th one, which was presented in 10Con in Singapore, is still under publication. This is the expected outcome. So we want to give an end-to-end solution to the dermatologist where the dermatologist will be able to upload an image, and at the back end we'll compute and then give that one of these diseases. It's probably one of these diseases. So we are working on the front end and the back end part. The model is there. We need to check it on the real world data set. We are in the process of collecting a real world data set. So that is the progress till now. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
With the doctors? Because
Yes, ma'am. I'm in touch with the dermatologist, Dr. Rujita Sathe from Zen Hospital.
Okay. And this is going to be only for the doctors. It's not going to be in a
No,
public
no,
domain.
no. We are saying that it is a preliminary assistive diagnosis tool.
Okay. This is only for
Only for the dermatologists.
But I'm just wondering, why would a dermatologist
Ma'am,
prefer
actually
to
not the
have this?
dermatologist, we should say primary healthcare provider, because this problem is prevalent in the rural part of the country where finding a doctor is difficult, leave dermatologist. We are fortunate that where we live in a city like Mumbai, we have access to dermatologists.
My only concern, sure, I understand all this.
Yes, ma'am.
My only concern is if it goes in the wrong hands. I mean, if it, how are you going to restrict it? Because
Ma'am,
if it goes to, because
that
there's
goes-
so much of self-diagnosis and all
Yes,
this issues.
that exactly
can
is the problem, ma'am. Because the dermatologist also had that concern.
Yeah, this
There
is
are
really a big
educated people like us who don't go to the dermatologist and go to the chemist and say cream लगा दे मुझे दर्द हो रहा है या rash आ गया है कुछ दवाई दे दे. But ma'am, that has to be controlled. Yeah. Yes, yes, ma'am. I'll take care of that. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
Since you just said that you plan to have this application in the rural areas,
Yes.
how are you going to validate your data set? Because if you're using a standard camera and the standard camera is not available for image taking in the rural areas, how would you validate the two? Because your modeling is based on standard data collected from primarily a standard camera, right? Which will have high resolution.
Yes.
But in the rural area, they may not have that facility.
So the standard camera setup that we have is a Wi-Fi camera, where this was only the front end. So a tool which will be there on some app. The standard camera set that we have it's a Wi-Fi camera which can be there is an app through that Wi-Fi camera. It can capture images either from the phone or from this laptop. So we are also going to give them a camera, which is a Wi-Fi. So the end-to-end setup will not have just this, it will also have a camera. So there is a Wi-Fi camera, which we are using for capturing the data. That is about 2,000 rupees. Thank you. Yes. Different from?
Google Lens.
Google Lens.
Yeah.
So Google Lens is only going to give an image. We are actually, so that Wi-Fi camera that I'm talking about is actually going to a higher resolution.
No. Now, if you have Gemini in Chrome,
Yes.
it gives you all the probable just like what you have given.
So that will not be able to give you the diagnosis, right? We are also giving a primary diagnosis to that. So it will capture the image and work on a model at the back end, and on the front end it will give what is the disease.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pragya. Next, we have Ruchi Fonseca, post which we have Akash Bidwaik. Akash, please be ready.
Thanks to the ARM committee for giving me this opportunity to present. I am actually at the beginning stage of my PhD journey and joined Maya Somaya School of Music just 6 or 5 months ago. My research guide is Dr. Rahul Prakash sir, and my topic is concerned with the ongoing fusion experiments and performances where traditional principles of Hindustani music meet the limitless boundaries of electronic music. So Hindustani music has been around for centuries and has been passed down through generations. However, electronic music is much newer and developed in the 20th century with Western technological advancements, and now has become a global sensation. So at first glance, these two styles might seem completely different, but when they come together, they create something unique and fresh. Society is evolving, people's preferences are changing, plus artists and producers are constantly experimenting and trying something new. Also, new technology is emerging in this field every year. So we can say that fusion music is constantly evolving. However, despite its popularity, there isn't enough academic documentation on the same. So that is where my research comes in. So then tracing the evolutionary patterns and identifying the key milestones in this field are an important part of this study. I also plan to compare fusion compositions and performances from different time periods and identify common, uncommon patterns or styles in which these fusion compositions have been created and how technology has shaped these fusions. Then when I talk about stylistic integration, I'm actually referring to the way different styles or subgenres of Hindustani music, such as thumri, folk, ghazal, khyal, or tarana, blend with various electronic music styles like techno, ambient, or drum and bass, etc. So my research will help categorize these fusion compositions on the basis of stylistic pairings. And when I say stylistic pairings, I am talking about those styles of Hindustani and electronic that naturally complement each other. For example, tarana, which is a fast-paced rhythmic vocal composition, often pairs well with high-energy beats genre, which is drum and bass. Or we have thumri, which is a deep, expressive Hindustani subgenre that evokes Shringar Ras, is frequently paired with ambient music, that is an electronic subgenre that emphasizes on mood and atmosphere. So such stylistic pairings that exist in today's compositions will be identified and documented. So the goal behind documenting all of this is that it would provide a deeper insight into this evolving genre and open doors for further creative exploration. Then under instrumental adaptation comes the traditional Hindustani instruments like sitar, tabla, basuri, how their original sounds transform or change when mixed with electronic elements. So normally these instruments have a natural or organic sound. However, when processed through electronic effects like echo, reverb, distortion, they usually take a completely new character. So that brings me down to my hypothesis, which is when these instrumental sounds undergo sonic transformations, they no longer sound authentic or as expressive. Then there is a tentative idea that is how people feel about this fusion music depends on their musical cultural background. So my assumption is that people who listen to electronic music are usually more open to fusion music because they are used to listening to digital sounds and new styles as compared to people who listen to traditional Hindustani music. So maybe this is an assumption that could be proven wrong via conducting a survey. So this is the methodology that I wish to use. Again, yeah, I can conduct interviews of people from the field who are actively working. And these are the expected outcomes that would provide me answers to my hypothesis and would satisfy my curiosity. Thank you.
Due to time constraint, we are skipping the questions. Next, we have Akash Bidwai, post which we have Ajit Maurya. Ajit Maurya, please be ready. Akash, are you there? Ajit Maurya? Ms. Rutuja? Yes. Saili, are you there? Please be ready.
Hello. Very good morning. Myself Rutuja Karambale. My guide is Dr. Pooja Birvatka. My title of research is Developing Diagram Comprehension Abilities in Biology Students, a Mixed Method Study. Diagram comprehension is a result of complex interactions between learner characteristics, diagram characteristics, and the task the learner is given. That is what is suggested or given by the educationist Kottimer in 2020. Now, when we see about the comprehension of the diagram, when the teacher provide any instructions regarding these diagrams, student always comprehend more and develop better understanding of the diagram, what is seen in the review. But what are the different challenges the students are facing while understanding these biology diagrams? Are basically the conventions which are used in the representations. Sometimes they fail to integrate the features of the diagram into their coherent mental model. Sometimes understanding cut surfaces to show the cross sections. Sometimes cross-sectional diagrams and their interpretations. Many a times students feel very hard to understand three-dimensional objects or the diagram. In that sometimes again the nested features are also difficult to understand. Now how these students are going to comprehend the diagram with these difficulties? So to address this diagram comprehension, researcher proposes the better visualization of this diagram by using intervention model. So variables of the study are independent variable as intervention model for diagram comprehension. Dependent variable is a diagram comprehension ability. Objectives of the studies are as follows, like to compare pre-test between experimental and the control group, to design and implement the intervention model, then to compare the post-test measure of DCA, that is diagram comprehension ability, of diagram experimental and the control group. The research will be followed by this methodology, which has 3 phases. The first phase is a pre-intervention phase, where researchers has already collected the data from various tools using these tools. That is, the first important thing is about the biology textbook diagram analysis, which is already done. Then DCA, that is a pre-test is taken for both the group. Questionnaire is given to the student to understand what are the different difficulties they are facing. Next is the different professors, the teachers which are teaching already the biology, and what are the challenges they are also facing while teaching particularly diagrams. Second phase of the research is intervention module, that is followed by 4 modules, in which the first module, which is having development of biological drawing skill. With the development of this, second module based on it is understanding conventions of the diagram. Third module based on it is the diagram with annotations. So what are the students are annotating diagram using the conventions and understanding the features of the diagram. And finally, this annotated diagram, they are called as anagram, will be concluded or connected with the diagram comprehension ability. So these are the 4 modules which are being used as intervention. And finally, the post-intervention phase, which will be collected, different data has been collected using the post-test for experimental and the experimental group and the our control group. Then you can see the focus group interview is also taken. And finally, the reflection from the student as well as by the researcher. So these are the different pictures which have been, I have just supported with this, following the different modules, in which the first module, where the students are expected to draw the crude diagrams. In the second one, we can see that the students have already drawn the diagram in the first session, which are crude. Now, by understanding the features of that particular diagram, second session, they have been drawing the diagram, understanding the characteristics of the diagram. In the next one, again, the researcher have shown them the micro photographs of the diagram using microscope and all, and asked them to draw the diagram, understanding the features, and finally showing them the videos also. Improvement of the diagram drawing skill is done. And based on that, the second session, third session has been followed, and final outcomes which are possible can be seen in the form of developing the instructional guide to the student for improving the diagram comprehension abilities. Also increase awareness of the students' difficulties with the diagram comprehension that we can see. So there are these many outcomes which can be possible after analyzing the complete data. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rituja. Next, we have Saili Nene. Post which we have Rajesh Mandale. Rajesh, please confirm if you're here. Aditya Nadar. Next, please be ready.
Okay, good morning everyone. I am Saili Nene, Faculty of Commerce and Business Studies, as well as I am pursuing PhD under the guidance of Dr. Sachin Achrikar sir. So my title is Assessing the Outreach of Microfinance Institutions in Promoting Financial Inclusion in Rural Thane. So microfinance is provision of financial services as well as products to those who are lacking access to conventional and traditional banking facilities. So it may include microcredit, microinsurance, micro savings, or any other payment systems, etc. And the main models through which microfinance is operated in India, it is through self-help groups, joint liability groups, or microfinance institutions, rural cooperatives, as well as Grameen models. And financial inclusion is about enabling access to financial products and services to all individuals as well as business, especially the underprivileged, that is those who are not able to access banking facilities or any other financial facilities. So from this, we can generate a statement of problem that the people in rural areas may face quite a lot of challenges in accessing the financial products and services. So this study will help in finding out which microfinance models are operating in that area, what is the awareness level, what is the utilization level. Also, it will help in identifying if there are any barriers in its utilization. And this study can help in providing insights to policymakers for enhancing microfinance impact on financial inclusion. Next is the gap analysis. So from the review of literature conducted, the studies which are already there are mostly in the other regions of India. And the studies which are conducted in the Thane region are mostly focusing on one particular microfinance model, as well as particularly collecting only secondary data, as well as focusing only on one particular model or woman. So this study is a comprehensive one which can help gather data from all types of clients as well as all type of rural people in Thane, and also the primary data which will offer a perspective in this particular region. So the main objectives of this study are to understand the different modes of microfinance which are operating, understand their outreach and role which they play in financial inclusion, the barriers if there are any faced in its utilization, the usage as well as factors affecting usage, and to analyze the socio-economic impact of microfinance in rural population in Thane. In line with the objectives, these are the hypotheses which are framed to understand the prevalence, then the significance of microfinance and financial inclusion, as well as the different factors which can affect the usage of microfinance products and services in rural areas of Thane. So the methodology is which is adopted is a mixed method, and the data will be collected from RBI registered MFIs as well as from rural respondents. And 45 villages are selected, and from those the data is going to be collected with the help of questionnaires as well as interview with the MFI clients. This is the normal framework which consists of independent variable and dependent variable, that is the types of microfinance institutions, microfinance products and services, and financial inclusion is the dependent variable, along with the other mediating and moderating variables supporting it. Finally, coming to the expected outcome. So it is expected that the awareness level as well as the utilization level in rural areas is expected to be low to moderate, as well as the factors which I discussed above are going to significantly affect the usage of microfinance in these areas. But surely microfinance can create a positive impact on financial inclusion, and the main barriers which can be identified may be the affordability or lack of financial literacy among the rural population in such regions. These are my expected outcomes, and the progress is that I have just registered my topic recently, and I am undergoing review of literature and working on a research paper. So thank you.
Thank you, Saili. Next, we have Aditya Nadar. Amit Narwade, are you here? Yeah, you're next in the line.
A very good morning to one and all present here. My name is Aditya Nadar, and I am in my third year BSc, and this is the work I will be presenting today: isolation and characterization of bacteriophages for developing targeted therapeutic cocktails against phytopathogen bacteria. And I'm doing this work under the guidance of Dr. Jacinta George. So phytopathogens are a very important issue nowadays, especially for us as Indians, due to the fact that even now India is developed, but we are still an agrarian economy at our heart. So phytopathogens are very damaging to our economy. They are estimated to cause over 290 billion Indian rupees worth of damage annually. So this is why it's very important to tackle this issue. And in my review of literature, I came across these three pathogens whom I thought were the most concerning nowadays, and these are the focus of my studies. Xanthomonas oryzae, which primarily infects rice, which is a staple crop, and both Pseudomonas syringae and Pantoia glomerans can infect a wide range of economically significant crops, such as mangoes, papayas, citrus fruits, and even rice. And while there are many different methods we can use to combat these phytopathogens, they are not really that effective nowadays. So antibiotics are not as efficient nowadays due to the fact that antibiotic resistance exists. And while chemical agents do appear to be an appealing alternative, they are not great because firstly, they're not sustainable since they're chemicals, and secondly, they also have health consequences when ingested over a long period of time, which is why I chose to go down the biocontrol route. So the problem statement I am primarily tackling is that the rise of antibiotic-resistant bacteria threatens crop yield and food security globally, and the traditional chemical control methods are becoming less and less effective nowadays. This project aims to develop phage therapy as a targeted, environmentally friendly alternative to combat these pathogens. And this project has three major objectives. First is the isolation of bacteriophages from different samples collected all over Mumbai. Second is the characterization of these bacteriophages. And third is the formulation of a therapeutic cocktail to combat these infections. This is the methodology I have followed so far. So samples were collected from all over suburban Mumbai. And these were primarily water samples, mainly sewage samples. And they were incubated with the appropriate host and then used for a spot assay. And the spot assay plates were observed for plaques. These plaques were then enriched, purified, and then enumerated using the double agar overlay method, which is a standard method employed for the enumeration of bacteriophages. And once the enumeration was done, we can move on to the further characterizations, which is what I'm proposing to do next. So under characterization, firstly, I'm going to be focusing on genomic sequencing and transmission electron microscopy so I can understand the morphology and physiology of my bacteriophages better. And this will be outsourced. Then I'll be studying the stability under various different conditions that might be variable in an agricultural field. So such as thermal stability, pH stability, light and UV exposure, and so on. And lastly, I'll also be studying the lytic efficiency using the leaf disc method and the kill curve method. And yeah, these are my achievements so far. So as you can see, during my isolation phase, I managed to isolate two bacteriophages against Pseudomonas syringae, PS1 and PS2. So these were isolated and enumerated separately using the agar overlay method, and these are the results I found. So I determined the Faj titers to be 5.6 into 10 raised to 18 and 9.66 into 10 raised to 19 PFUs per ml respectively. So now that I have done this, I can move on to the upcoming objectives, which are these. So before I move on to them, as you can see here, I'm not sure if it's very visible in the back, but there are two very distinct plaques that are present on the plate. There's one large spot, which is labeled as PS2, and multiple small spots peppering the plate, PS1. So this indicates that they are two distinct morphological phages. And yeah, so that's my work so far. And these are the properties that I'm expecting my phages to have based on literature review. And the temperature stability of up to 40 degrees Celsius may be going up to 60 in certain cases. pH stability of 5 to 11. And the genomic size is variable. And I'm expecting it to have UV resistance to UVA, which is the most penetrating type of UV. Then the lytic capability is likely to be high due to the fact that both of the plaques are showing a good amount of clearance. And once all of these properties have been tested, I will move on to the Faj cocktail formulation part, where I'll assess the synergistic effect of different bacteriophages, and I will move on to formulating a mixture with different biostabilizers and biosurfactants to see what works best. And yeah, and before I end my presentation, I would also like to tell you that I had the amazing opportunity to also present my work at the 20th National Research Scholars Meet held by ACTREC. So yeah, that was an amazing experience. And with that, we have come to the end of my presentation, and thank you all for presenting this opportunity to me.
It was a wonderful session where the research presenters have presented their ideas. Now I will request Mr. Ashish Tambe to address the audience on the session which was there.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you, the organizing team of Annual Research Meet, for having me here. Secondly, thanks to Dr. Santosh Narayan Khedkar sir for inviting me over here. So, actually, I'm not here. I can only say that being one of the PhD student like you only. So it was an opportunity for me to get to know what all of you are doing in the research field. And I believe knowing the work being done by other scholars in the university, it would help you also to go into direction which our Honorable Chancellor and Vice Chancellor dreams to become a research-oriented university. So all the best, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I request Raman sir to please come on stage and give a small token of appreciation on behalf of the ARM team to Mr. Ashish Tambe. Tambe sir, thank you so much for your time and your suggestions.